Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson. Joined with me is the man with the master plan, my buddy from another mother, Chance Michaels. How are you, Chance?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. We're into Tuesday afternoon. Everything is beautiful. A weekend of spectacular results across the board in the world of combat sports. Some were predictable, some just came out of nowhere. And I'm talking combat sports in general.
Yeah.
I always want to touch on that a little bit here at some point. But before any of that, everybody, please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey as we continue to bring you the best stories, the best commentary, and the best analysis going today in the world of professional wrestling. We're still a secret that's not known by many, but we're hoping that will change as we progress. So for those of you that are with us now, thank you. You guys will
Yes.
be with us. Thank you so much for all your support, your kind words. And again, like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Samp_Chance. It's our Twitter, or sorry, our Instagram handle. I give you that because that you'll find our bio tree, and there you can find the links to our Facebook, TikTok, you name it, Instagram, YouTube,
Twitter.
everything. Twitter, absolutely. Chad, you got anything to add to that, brother?
Just share it. Share it with your family and friends. We appreciate it. Thank you for the
No,
support.
no, 100%. It means a lot to us, all the support that we're getting here. But hey, we're 2 weeks away from Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales, the first big stadium pay-per-view held in almost over 30 years. 30 years, man. There's a lot of fans out there that weren't even born when the last one happened. That's crazy. But hey, Raw, great show last night, I think, in my opinion. I think the Toronto crowd made it really special as well. Over 18,000 fans. It was a sellout
Yeah, they were
in the Air
excited.
Canada Theater, in the Air Canada Arena. I mean, SmackDown was pretty lit too in Montreal. Two good cities with two good crowds, man. I'll give that, I'm not a much of a Toronto guy per se, even though that's my hometown and that's where I was born. But I have to give it to the Toronto crowd. They really, brought their game, and I think WWE is continuing to bring their game in the last few weeks. Raw kicks off with a brawl between Seth Rollins and Riddle. I like this story a lot, man. I really do. I love how they're progressing it. There is some real heat between the two. I don't know if it still exists, but at one point, Seth was not a fan of him in any shape or form. This was many years ago when he first came into the business and whatnot. Now, Riddle is a character, man, I find. He's a really interesting cat. He doesn't follow the protocols of what most professional wrestlers are in terms of handshaking, the respect and whatnot is supposed to be shown. Um, from my
He's that
understanding,
new breed, that arrogant, kind of smug kind of guy. He even came into WWE saying he could beat up Brock Lesnar, and he was really cocky and brash.
no, absolutely. But you know what? I think that Randy Orton put it best when he was talking about him in an interview, and he said that he comes off that way, and he doesn't mean to. It's just his nature. It's just that kind of person he is. But once you know him and once he lets you kind of in, he's like one of the best guys in the world. He
Yeah, I
just,
can see
he,
that. He's got a fun
he's
personality, at least on air.
yeah, absolutely. And I think, coming into the Federation, he realizes that he's coming in from a different field of entertainment in the terms of MMA and whatnot. So, maybe it's that pressure that he heard about coming in, like, you haven't paid your dues, you haven't done that. But I mean, in his own way, he's paid his dues in a different way through MMA. So, I mean, that has to count for something because, I mean,
Absolutely.
those punches are real,
Oh yeah,
right?
they hurt.
So I love what they're doing with that. I mean, the whole Smash giving him the curb stomp on the steps and canceling the match at SummerSlam was beautiful. People were upset about it and whatnot, but that was the right play. I loved how they did that. They made it legitimate. So this is, built up and it's going to be a really good match. I mean, they've been working at this match now for almost 3 months, man.
Could be the best match in the card.
It looks like it. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a showstopper. I mean, Riddle has proven himself in the ring. I think he's a great worker. I think he has great movement, facial expressions, the whole 9 yards. If you get past the whole goofiness of his character, the guy can work.
Yeah, he can.
Guy can work. And Seth is Seth.
The
Seth
thing about
can
Riddle,
work.
he's goofy, but the kids love him. They love that goofy style. So he's got a big fan base.
I mean, he's got a huge fan base. He's got the kids and he's got the potheads. I mean, he's just generation's Rob Van Dam in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam. Yeah,
He was the potty, weed guy, and the kids loved him for that and whatnot. And then you had that 18 to 34-year-old demographic that loved him because of you know, I don't know, the discretion he used in talking about weed on the air and stuff like that. If you knew, you knew. If you didn't, you didn't.
I even think Riddle's even better than Van Dam. I know that's a bold statement, but I think in ring he's better.
Right, he probably is in a lot of ways. I mean, Van Damme was, amazing at what he did. I think Van Damme's a pioneer in a lot of ways for a lot of the
Yeah, he
guys
was
like
in
Riddle
some
and
ways.
whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of these wrestlers that brought these different styles to the forefront that weren't there before. That kind of, didn't change the style per se. Don't get me wrong, but changed the way people looked at movement.
It added to it. Yeah.
It added to it, right? So you got guys like Ray, and you got guys like Rob Van Dam, who came out with doing these really cool things, which led to the guys like Ricochet and Osprey,
Hmm.
Kenny Omega to a certain extent, even with some of the moves that he's able to produce and do with the
Michaels and Bret Hart. There's a few.
Michaels and Bret Hart would fit into the categories more of the pioneer.
Yeah.
More Shawn Michaels, I would say, than Bret Hart. Bret Hart was more of a technical wrestler. Like if you, I don't know, how do we categorize them? You got the big men, you got the technical guys, and then you got the high flyers, you got the brawlers.
Yeah.
So I mean, from
That's what
from a
makes wrestling beautiful. What you just said, all of that in one on a show. You get the
no,
big
hundred
man, you
percent.
get everything you want.
Yeah, you got it all, man. And it's kind of the evolution of wrestling is such now where you're seeing all these different styles that come from all over the world being incorporated into all these shows.
Hmm.
So, and when you start mixing them, when you start mixing luchador with strong style, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Because
it's fun.
then those kicks become something special. All right, so let's carry on with Raw here in Toronto. So after that's basically how the show opened up, man. It was no kind of graphics or anything. It just went straight into the brawl in the stands between these two guys, which I thought was kind of cool way to kick off the show.
It's a
Just
nice
quick
change.
punch, nice quick punch, right? Like, whoa, shit, this stuff's already started, and they're not even on the air yet, right? Just from that perspective, it was kind of cool. But then we kind of, settle in, and Trish comes out technically to open up the show now, and she's talking about, you know, feeling at home again, being good to be at home again, not just in Toronto, but also in the ring and whatnot. And I think she wanted to talk about something or have some kind of statement, but then she was interrupted by Bailey and the crew. Um, I love these guys, man. I love what they're doing. I like this faction of the three of them: Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bailey. I mean, these girls are just kind of killing it right now. I love what Bailey's doing. I think it's just refreshing to see a really strong female heel on the show. For the longest time, it was basically Charlotte,
Pretty much.
and she's kind of
Well,
been off.
I guess Ronda.
Well, I don't know with Ronda right now if she's a heel or whatnot. Like, I mean, I think they're trying to change her heel, but Montreal really loves her, so maybe that wasn't the city to kind of do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So she's coming up. She's there. I think they're trying to turn her heel, but I don't know now because that. I think what's going to happen here is you're going to get into a Shayna Baszler. If they planted the seeds for this, a Shayna Baszler Ronda Rousey fight,
That'd be a
which
good
I
one.
which I think will be really good. I mean, and the history between those two women goes back, man. I mean, Ronda was her coach, I believe, in Tough.
She was. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys go all the way back, and Shayna Baszler. If anything, I think Shayna Baszler is at a higher level than Ronda when it comes to pro wrestling.
Right now, yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, she's been on the independent. She fought here in Vancouver. She fought here locally for
Ronda's
ECCW
just a
for a little
bigger
bit.
name and a bigger draw, though.
No, 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 understandable. But in terms of skill and what she can bring to the ring, I think this is by far Shayna Baszler's game now.
Mm.
Do you know where I'm going with that?
I know what you mean by that, but yeah, Ronda's got that tough. She's like the female Brock Lesnar.
No doubt, no doubt. So these three girls come out, they circle Trish, and Bianca's music hits, and I like it because they're continuing with that continuity of that story. They're building up to the 3-on-3 match with Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss against Bailey, Io Sky, and or what's her name again, Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
And so all four of them are standing against the three of them, and this leads right into the semifinal tag team match between Io Sky Dakota Kai. Hey, they rhyme, Kai and Sky. And against Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Now, I think the right people went over here. Io Sky and Dakota Kai won that match. It was a great match. It was really, really good. The girls worked really, really well. Some great moves. I loved watching Io and Asuka get into it. There were some great segments there, some great transitions. I love Asuka's quickness. I mean, her spinning attacks were just really fun to watch. And Io, she is the queen of the sky, man. That girl can fly.
Oh yeah,
That drop kick off the top rope was something else. And again, these aren't soft moves. These girls are working really, really hard. In fact, in some cases, one can argue they work harder than some of the men do in
some of the
terms
men,
of
some of
some
them.
of the men. But it was a really good match to start off the show. Alexa and Asuka lose the match, which is kind of what I was kind of hoping for because I think it's time for Alexa to kind of step out and if she's ready to launch a new character. So I'm kind of excited by that now to see where that kind of goes. She's just kind of playing the formula babyface right now. She's neither here or there. I think it's time for her to rise out of the ashes, and kind of come into her own again. Um, yeah, so that's kind of where that went right there. After that match, what do we do? We got Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler backstage segment there. Uh, Ziggler's talking about how he wants to help the younger talent, how he feels this and that. Out comes Finn to interrupt his interview and say, "You just one of those old guys who wants to latch on to the younger talent to stay relevant," which is a fair comment, I guess.
Yeah.
What's an old journeyman wrestler going to do nowadays, right? He has
Well,
to
I was
find
just about to say, was Dolph ever relevant? Like he's a good worker, and I like the guy, but he never was a big draw or a top guy. Like you said,
Dolph.
journeyman.
Dolph. Dolph is like one of those guys who survived it all and still there. I think he does a lot outside in the political arenas for the WWE in terms of representation and whatnot. I don't know how much he represents WWE, but he's out there doing his thing. I mean, he was doing a lot of the original content. He was hosting a lot of the original content for the WWE network when it first kind of started and they started coming out with the shows and whatnot. He's been up and down, man. He's another guy like Miz who's just been there. Like you would have thought those two guys would have been released at some time. I
They're
mean,
not
there's
troublemakers. I guess they didn't piss off any. They got played ball and got along. I guess
they were kind of the
smart,
guys who basically said, "We'll do whatever we have to do." They never argued.
smart.
Miz said, "I'll do all the media." Right? And most guys don't like doing media. Most guys don't want to. Guys and girls don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do a radio hit in the city that they're in that night to
Yeah,
promote the show. Miz said, "I'll do it." Dolph said he'll do it. So I mean, from that perspective, I think wrestling at that level is more than just what you do in the ring or in front of the camera. It's what you do outside of the ring to promote the business and be an
absolutely.
ambassador for it. And guys like that will always have a home. Guys like R-Truth, guys like, they're not the greatest competitors. They don't have the longest runs. They have moments here and there sporadically. Out of those three, probably Miz is the most relevant when it comes to
He
in-ring
is,
work. But, Ziggler can work and he's great with younger talent too. He's perfect guy to
and
kind of,
R-Truth's entertaining.
and he's entertaining, right? So from that perspective, that's why those kind of guys stick around.
Mhm.
You look at
Smart
you
for their
got
pay, smart for their wallet too.
well, they're putting in the work, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. They don't see Miz getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You arrive into the city, you leave one city and get to the next one at 2 o'clock in the morning. Have a quick bite, sleep for 3 hours, and then you're in a radio station. You're doing this hit, then you're doing that hit. All the radio shows in the morning. So from 6 to 10 in the morning, you're jumping from station to station to station for a 5 to 10 minute hit on that night show.
Yeah,
Go grab a bike, go hit the gym, and then you have to go straight to the arena for prep for the day.
yeah. I
So
know
I
they played
mean,
the game well. They've got along. They know the politics. Good for them.
no, they did everything they were supposed to do and more. So I mean, who can argue about any of that? Uh, but that being said, Dolph lost to Finn Balor, which was probably the right move. You got to keep the Judgment Day strong, and considering what
Yeah,
happened at the end of the night, he probably had to go over anyways. Next match you had, and I love these guys. The Alpha Academy, they came out and they put down the Toronto crowd and they put down Canadians and the normal
yeah. That
stick.
was well done.
That was well done, and they said, "Is there any Canadian back there, worth it?" To be honest, I thought it was going to be Santino that was going to come out. I really thought that it would be him, considering that they're more of a comedy kind of tag team, and you'd want that comedy guy to come out. I did not expect Kevin Owens to come out. I mean, A, because he's a heel, and B, because he's been working with the Alpha Academy against Ezekiel and his whole family, so to speak. So
Yeah.
to have Owens come out and just, be that angry guy, like he's still a heel in every other city, but um, you know, I guess he couldn't come out in Montreal, his hometown, so they gave him Toronto, and yeah, he dominated. He beat
Yeah,
the
that's a
shit.
good segment.
It was fun. It was a good match. It was a really good match. Um, so basically, after the match, Otis attacks Owens, but Owens fights him off with a stunner, and Gable then attacks, and then Owen beats him up too. So that's kind of how it ended. There was a backstage segment with Aaliyah, and she was doing an interview, I think, with Trish. She was talking with Trish, and Bailey and them show up to interrupt that, and Leah challenges Bailey to her first match since her
Yeah, I seen
injury.
that.
So that match went down. Typical Bailey defeats Aaliyah. Even though Aaliyah's a hometown girl, you would think that they would have given her something, but they gave her a good run. I like Aaliyah. She's paid her dues. She's probably one of the girls that's been down in NXT the longest. So to see her come up, I don't, unless something majorly happens or whatnot, she's going to be a mid Carter, but good for her for sticking around and surviving all the cuts
Yeah,
too, man.
still getting paid, so good for her.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a good match. This was the match I was most interested in, and this is what we were talking about last week with Sir Michaels. The Miz and Ciampa defeated AJ Styles and United States champion Bobby Lashley by disqualification after Dexter Loomis, unknown to the casual fans, my friend,
Yep, absolutely.
grabbed Miz and kidnapped him. So here we have character development. And I was thinking about this after we talked last week as well. Like we talk about Seth Rollins and how much he's accomplished in the WWE and whatnot. He came out of nowhere with the Shield, and no one knew who any of those guys were, right? So
Hmm.
I think we're at that stage in wrestling again, where a lot of these guys are coming in that don't people don't know, and they're building up their characters, right? I mean, we could say the same thing about Steve Austin when he came in. Who knew Steve Austin outside of, like, when he was with Brian Pillman in WCW, or that he was a part of Paulie Dangerous's Dangerous Alliance,
Not many.
right? Or he was in ECW before he came to the WWE and cut that awesome promo,
Yeah, no, I
against
get what
Hulk
you're saying. I
Hogan.
think what other people are saying is there's too many NXT guys coming out. There's too many people not known. But in those times, yeah, you bring out a Stone Cold or somebody like that. It was only one or two at a time. Now you got Johnny Gargano, you got all these NXT guys. It's like it's almost like
But
Triple H is making an IWC show, which people don't know stands for Internet Wrestling Community. It's like he's trying to appease them so much, is what I'm finding with these Raws. Not saying the
yeah,
shows are bad, but
yeah,
I think Triple H is listening to the internet community too much. This is my take on the Raws.
right. But here's the thing: the
Not saying they're
guys,
bad Raws,
no,
but
no, no, no.
not
The
the way I would
guys
do it.
that the guys that he's brought back were guys that no one really were upset about leaving, right? So from that perspective, these aren't big names that are coming back. These aren't guys that the internet community is actually clamoring for. The guys
Well,
that
the
they're
internet community
clamoring.
loves Johnny Gargano, though. They love
Oh
this
no,
guy.
no, no. Johnny Gargano's cool, man. But I mean, again, he kind of came back, and I kind of see him being a Daniel Bryan type at some point here. Like the guy's an amazing worker. He's really fun to watch.
Speaking of the Daniel Bryan, I got to bring this up since you brought him up. He just did a show at the Rio Theater here,
Yeah,
and most of Daniel Bryan's fans are kids.
yeah,
This show was 19 or older, so you couldn't even bring your kid to meet the guy and get a picture.
yeah.
Why he would agree to do that, I don't get that.
Well, I guess the money
Oh, I know what he's
and
money, but he's supposed to be like that hippie vegan,
no, no, I get it.
anti. But I'm just
I
saying,
get it.
like,
Well,
if you're gonna come here and do a show, you should at least let the kids have a meet and greet with you. But 19 or older, so you got a bunch of dudes, 19 and up. You're telling your story and having meet and greets. So what about the kids that want to see you
yeah,
like that? To
no,
me, that's lame.
hey, I completely agree. I don't disagree at all. But I think it also has to do with who the promoter is.
No, I get it, I get it. But he should be like,
And
no, I'm not going here. Put me in a place where I can talk to the
no,
kids.
no, I get it. I get it. But like I said, I think it has to do with the promoter. It also has to do
Mm-hmm.
with the fact that if they can sell drinks,
Yeah, I
and
know, I
those
get it.
kind of things as well. Like, no, I know you get it. I'm just trying to make sense of it for the people listening as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I just saying, like, come
Oh,
on, man. Like, I was in toy traders with my kid, and he's like, "Oh, I want to meet Daniel Bryan." I said, "You can't. It's 19-year-old." Well, the first thing he said to me, "Dad, isn't wrestling for the kids?" I said, "Well, it's for adults too, but yes, it's more for the kids." But I don't know. Didn't make sense.
yeah, no, 100%. I
So,
agree with that. So, anyways, forwarding and developing that character as we were talking about, Dexter Loomis kidnaps the Miz,
mhm.
grabs him from like almost in like a headlock or a sleeper of some sort, pulls him out and takes him away, which I think was kind of cool. And this is kind of interesting to see. I don't know
Yeah, it
what
was a good
Dexter,
segment.
I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know what Dexter's angle is on all of this. Is he coming in as a face? Is he coming in as a heel? Because initially he was kind of, eyeing AJ a lot, but that's the kind of interesting part of Dexter Loomis here. I mean, that guy didn't say more than 2 words the whole time he was
I
in
think they're
NXT.
feeling it out, kind of seeing which way to go with them. Maybe get the reaction of the crowd, feel it out. Maybe I'm not
What's
sure.
kind of funny though, because I mean, okay, let's talk about Johnny Gargano. Gargano comes back on this show, right? I mean, he wasn't
Hmm.
sure if he was going to wrestle again. He was kind of considering to be done and kind of move on to the next chapter of his life. His wife has just had their second child. His wife is also a pretty great wrestler, a good wrestler in her own right.
Who's his
So
wife?
Candice LeRae.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's going to be coming back anytime soon, but this is kind of interesting because you got Dexter, you got Johnny, and you got Austin Theory there now. And these guys were all a part of one big storyline at one point in
Hmm.
NXT near the end there. Um,
Yeah, I like how Theory came out there when Gargano was in the ring. So we're gonna see a feud going there.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of perfect. And like I said, if you haven't watched Johnny Gargano work, and if you're not familiar with him, here's your chance to get familiar with this guy. I really like him a lot. I think he's just a really, really good wrestler. Like he's a great pro
I think I've
wrestler.
seen him before live. Didn't he wrestle a few times in Vancouver here?
I believe he may have. I've
I
not
think they
seen him
brought him
live
in
here and
for the
locally, but I
CCW. I'm
mean,
pretty sure.
some of the matches that he had with Champa were insane.
No, he's a good worker. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Yeah,
knocking
yeah,
his
yeah.
skills, but
So like
like,
I said, let's just give these guys some time and see where everyone kind of fits in and we'll go from there. But it was fun. It was a good segment there to watch those guys kind of rip it up. Um, Main event, Edge versus Damien Priest. Um, I thought it was a good match. I
it
thought
was a good match.
Edge looked fuller. He looked
Yeah,
bigger.
I was about to say, he looked like he's beefing up a little bit. Finds out that skinny look anymore. Looks, yeah, looked
He
good.
looks like he's kind of filling into his own. It kind of reminds me of Shawn Michaels when he first came back after 4.5 years. Like
Yeah,
he had muscle definition, but he didn't look like the HBK. Like he lost, a bit of himself, a bit of his size. But as
yeah.
time progressed, as he got, near the end again, he started to fill out. But Edge looked really good. He looked really sharp. He looked really clean. Um,
I liked his gear. How many more matches does he have left, though? I think he's talking retirement match. So what, a few more big ones? He's going to call it a day
yeah,
because
I
he did
think
have that
he's near the
serious
end.
neck problem.
No, I think he's near the end. I think he's probably got maybe a couple more years in him. But I mean, he works select dates. It's not like he's on every week,
Yeah,
right? So I mean, he could have 4 more matches that could expand over 2 years,
yeah.
right? So I mean, what do you have? I mean, Cash at the Castle. I think you're probably going to see Judgment Day against Ray, Edge, and Beth Phoenix, who came out to make the save for him at the end. And I was waiting for that. Like I was okay. Either Beth has to come out, or I thought Trish was going to come out. I thought that would have been fun too, to
That'd been
see
good.
Trish come out and kind of confront Rhea Ripley. But I think Beth makes more sense because she's about, she's big as well. Like she's
And
got
it's his
size,
wife, so
and it's his wife, so that makes a lot more sense. So I think that match is kind of set for Cash at the Castle too now. So you got
yeah.
that's one date right there. So what do
That
you?
was the best match on Raw, Edge and Priest, I thought.
No, no, 100%. Well, I mean, I like the girls tag team match a lot. To be honest, I just liked how they worked. I like the flow, being the curtain opener as well. After that brawl in the crowd between Seth and Riddle, the crowd was hot. They kept him hot, So I really enjoyed that match. But yes, I will say Damian Priest versus Edge was a great match. Um, Edge is awesome. He's really good at what he does, and
Hmm.
he brought the best out of Damian Priest, who I think still has some work to do
He does.
in
Yeah, he
terms of
does.
his himself and whatnot. I still feel that Damien is forcing himself on the mic. Is that fair?
He's trying too hard, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just not. He's finding himself. He's getting better and better. I mean, I think Roman's still trying to find himself sometimes.
Yeah, Roman's
But
not the best talker. He's okay,
he's
but
no, he's not the best talker, but he's gotten better. But I mean, yeah, that was basically Raw, man. I thought the show was good overall. I thought it just
that was
moved
good.
nicely. I mean, before you knew it, it was 8 o'clock or 11 o'clock if you're in the East.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
was a
that was
good
a solid
show.
Raw, decent.
No, 100%. But hey, couple of local notes here, man, before we kind of move into other topics here. This weekend saw the return of All Star Wrestling coming back to Vancouver, to the Lower Mainland, to the interior, all across BC and parts of Alberta, I guess. Thunder of Jolunder and Odin Rex are now the brand new owners of All Star Wrestling.
Congratulations, boys.
No, 100% looking forward to it. Once we have some more information and some more dates, but we'll see what we can pass on to you guys. And I'll be trying to get in touch with these guys to see if we can get a little scoop or a little inside information or even get one of these guys on
Yeah.
to talk about it. Odin's the guy who has the Bulldog at his shows.
Yeah, yeah. The guy comes down with a ACDC song. Yeah.
The AC/DC song, and I guess his wife or girlfriend is always there with that little bulldog.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hilarious.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm really happy. I'm really glad for these guys. I went to the last show I believe they had before they kind of didn't shut down, but kind of weren't sure where they were going with direction and whatnot. So it's nice to see all of this. It's probably a relief to some of the talent as well. So Jay Starcy, Calamity Kate, are still your champions. I hope and I think.
I think so.
I don't know how much they're going to change or what they're going to change on this front, but like I said, let's do a little bit of digging and hopefully we can get a word in with Mr. Jolunder or Mr. Odin, and we can find out about that a bit more and pass that on to you guys here locally and around the world.
Absolutely.
Also, September 9th and 10th, Can-Am Wrestling presents the show at the Wild Rose Garden in Calgary, the home of Stampede Wrestling. It's a 2-day tournament. We're getting close on that as well. So, I'm hoping next week I can get a bit more information from our man Otto.
Going to be a great
Uh,
show.
and yeah, looking forward to it.
Scotty Mack will be on there.
Scotty Mack is going to be in there as well. The Billington Bulldogs, who are the
Moondog from the
nephews.
local scene.
Yeah. The Billington Bulldogs are going to be there, who are the nephews, direct nephews, blood nephews of Dynamite Kid. So, that's going to be kind of cool. We'll keep you posted as we get closer to that. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have some good things to share about that with you guys as well. But hey, um, let's talk about our favorite guy. You ready?
CM Punk and Adam Page.
Yeah. What is Punk doing, man?
So what started this is that correct me if I'm wrong. Punk cut a promo and Page wasn't in the building, and Punk started attacking him, taking it
Yeah, okay.
personal.
This all started with Colt Cabana.
The podcast.
Well, it kind of started there. Okay, so basically, for the people who don't know the history, I'm going to give you a quick history summary lesson. Basically, what happened is when CM Punk decided to walk out of WWE for whatever reasons that he had, medical issues, this, that, his concerns with the medical staff and everything else involved, he basically went on the Art of Wrestling podcast, which was hosted by his good friend at the time, Mr. Colt Cabana.
AKA Scotty Goldman.
Scotty Goldman, absolutely. Now, Colt is the ultimate entrepreneur. He's done stand up. He does $5 wrestling shows. He does
Great
everything.
shows by the Vital Wrestling were hilarious.
Yeah, and he does everything he possibly can to keep his name out there, and he works really, really hard. Um, Pardon me. So what happened is after that podcast came out, they were sued by the WWE for defamation because of the things that Punk said about the doctors and the medical staff at WWE, other comments that he had made. So there was a defamation case. Now, here's the problem with all of this. They included Colt Cabana because it was his podcast in there as well. So they made him one of the guys that, so CM Punk and Colt Cabana versus WWE. Now, Colt says, look, dude, I don't have that kind of money to pay for these lawyers. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't do anything. CM Punk allegedly, and I don't know this for a fact, this is what we've been told, basically told, hey, Colt, don't worry about it, man. I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. Right? So when they settled and everything cleared and this and that, Punk did not take care of it for him. Left him hanging with the bill.
Not surprising for a guy
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And that broke the friendship. That really fractured it and put a lot of holes in everything to do with the two of them. They're like the best of buds. I mean, remember the pipe bomb promo that he
Yeah,
did in WWE? I mean, he said, "Hey, Colt," like he made reference from there.
yeah.
So go to AEW. So now all of a sudden, CM Punk is in AEW, but guess who else is there? Part of the Dark Order, Colt Cabana. So Colt Cabana's there, CM Punk is there, and I'm wondering to myself as this happens, like, shit, are these two going to tangle? Is there going to be something we can see here? But nothing ever really formulated. Punk kind of kept his distance from him and whatnot. Now I don't know if he's whispering to anyone in anyone's ear, or if he's being Mr. Punk behind the scenes. But there was a point there before Ring of Honor was purchased. They were going to release him. He had no angle going on, even though he was with the Dark Order. They kind of cut him out of the Dark Order. They were going to release him, but then Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. And one of the promotions that he did a lot of work in and did for was Ring of Honor. So they moved Colt over there. Now I'm thinking, and again, I don't have this information, so this is just my thoughts, my assumption that Punk didn't want him there and he didn't like it. But here's the thing, the one reason they have Colt Cabana there is because of what he's accomplished in the independent scene. The one thing that they looked at him as a mentor, the Young Bucks, Adam Page, the guys that actually are the EVPs, the executive vice presidents of this and that and whatnot, that actually have other roles behind the scenes, liked him as a mentor for the younger guys because of how hard he's worked out on the independents. Watching his friends kind of get those big breaks and those opportunities, which I think he should have been afforded at some point as well, right? But it just didn't work out for him. But he
Hmm.
never gave up. He never stopped trying, right? And you have to honor that. You have to respect that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it kind of stems from. Now, I think him calling out Page the way he did and everything was unscripted, was unprofessional. And Page didn't go out because he was there. He was backstage.
Yeah.
He just didn't go out. He
Oh, he
didn't
was
go
there. I
out.
thought he wasn't in the building, but he was
No, no,
there.
no, no. He was there. He just didn't go out because it wasn't a part of the show. It wasn't nothing to do with it. I gotta respect Paige for that because I mean Punk has done this a couple times where he's kind of gone off script and try to cut his own promo. An example of that would be against Kevin Nash. And Kevin Nash talks about this in
Thank
his
you for bringing that up. I got a good story about that when you're done.
yeah, and Kevin Nash brought this up in his podcast, in light of everything that's going on here. And he was really pissed off because he thought he was coming in to put over Punk and whatnot and not be ridiculed and put down by CM Punk the way he was. So, it's just like, where's the line between shoot and kayfabe? And how can you make the most out of it in terms of a storyline? Um, there are about 4 or 5 feuds that I can think about, but I won't talk about it right now. Maybe we can talk about this next week.
I think that
Shoot,
was one of Kevin Nash's best lines is when Punk was standing on the stage and Kevin Nash in the ring, and he said, "You look like a short order cook at the Waffle House. Hit the weights." I thought that was brilliant because the guy, the way he looks, he doesn't look like a wrestler per se. And I thought that was a great burn. And it always stuck with me. You look like a cook at the Waffle House. I like that.
no,
Well
no,
done, Kevin.
100%. Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. So basically, Punk is stirring up. It's not helping because there is a lot of friction right now in AEW. I mean, one can argue, and I mean, it's safe to argue and assume that the honeymoon period has to be over.
Is
You're
over.
over.
The Punk is the best wrestler in the world in his mind. He's the best at everything he does in his mind, but nobody else's mind. He always goes business for himself, it seems.
No, 100%.
Very selfish, self-centered guy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't know him, but maybe from a business standpoint, he is that way. He's that kind of arrogant, cocky that I'm better than everybody
But
attitude,
he's not.
but he's not, and I sense that from him. Maybe he is different. Maybe he doesn't know where to turn the character off and just be Phil,
Mm-hmm.
or he's just one of those guys that just always bitter and wah wah wah.
That's exactly what he appears to me to be. Is bitter and crying, and he's better than everybody, and everybody did him wrong. It's like, no, dude, you do yourself wrong by acting like this.
Yeah. I think honestly, you got Moxley and him fighting for the title. I think it'd be best if they kept the belt on Moxley.
I hope so.
I don't think Punk should have the title, not because of the way he's been acting or whatnot. It's just based on what their mission statement is in AEW and everything else. The only guy that should have had that belt, that's a journeyman veteran, was Chris Jericho,
Yeah,
right? Your first champion should always be that guy that everybody knows, like you say, right? And everybody knows Jericho. So
everybody knows
after
Jericho.
after Jericho, Moxley winning, I'm okay with that. That was fine, right? Moxley winning, then losing it to Omega, which is fine. Omega
Yeah,
losing it to Adam Page probably was, the champion that everybody kind of wanted to see from the get-go, but wasn't there yet. And to be fair, even when he had the title, I don't think he was there yet.
no, fair
But
enough.
but he's gotten better. So having Mox right now, I think Mox as champion is probably the way to go. I don't think AEW is going to help themselves in any way by putting it back on CM Punk. I don't see it. Because I mean, if Punk is already showing signs of himself being what he was, do you want that guy being your champion?
This guy's gonna burn every bridge at every company he's worked at, or what? Like, holy cow, dude.
I don't know. See, you got a guy like Tony Khan who'll still suck his dick. Come on, let's call it the way it is. Vince
Yeah,
didn't suck it.
no.
Right? That's the
He told him, "You
reality of
want to
it.
go? Good riddance, dude. See ya." I don't know what's gonna happen with Punk. Where's MJF, man? Where is that guy? What's up with that?
Okay, so MJF is an interesting story as well because I mean he's still under contract till 2024,
Okay,
right? I mean he still has to finish out the rest of this year, the next 4 months, and then he has another. So he's got 16 months before he can do anything.
yeah,
So I mean it's a work. MJF is coming back pretty soon.
yeah. It seems like it worked now.
Right? MJF will be back pretty soon, if not after this pay-per-view in September or whenever the next pay-per-view is. I think you'll see his return. If Punk stays the way Punk is staying, I think that'd be a perfect feud for him to walk right back into. MJF kind of telling him straight up, like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you're doing everything that I said you'd be doing. You
And that
know,
will be a good feud.
it's a perfect feud. You bring back MJF as a bit of a baby face, and he'll turn on everyone after he beats up Punk. But I don't know. I don't understand why AEW needs Punk. I really don't.
They
Like I
don't.
get it. They cheer for him really loud in Chicago and here and there, but for the most part, I don't know, man. I just don't see it.
I agree with you totally. I'd get rid of him personally if I was Tony Khan.
And on
Unless this is
Wednesday,
all the work. If it's not, get rid of him.
well, I don't know how long he signed for, right? And I don't know if Tony Khan's in that position. Like Tony Khan's kind of learning on the job. Like I said, he's like you said, and and I'm tending to agree with it more and more every day. I mean, Tony Khan is just a fanboy.
Yeah,
He's a
he's playing with his dad's
fanboy.
money.
He's a fanboy with daddy's wallet, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if they put that much effort into the Jacksonville Jaguars, they'd go to the playoffs and potentially even win a Super Bowl,
that's true.
right? So I don't know how much influence his dad has on any of this, or if his dad even knows what Tony's up to. But
I'm
Rashid
not sure.
Khan,
Is his dad even a wrestling guy? Does he like wrestling? I don't know.
I think Rashid Khan is just a guy who's into buying properties and into investments, right?
Yeah,
And he sees
businessman.
this. It's a businessman, right? Um, if he was a sports guy, I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars would have had the season they had last year, where the coach didn't even know who half the opposition players were.
Yeah,
All the controversies before even, 4 games into the season, the team was already falling apart.
yeah. Well, the Khan made the right choice. He got rid of him. So we'll see what happens now.
Well, let's see. I mean, who's in there now? Terry, who's the coach now?
I'm not sure the coach is actually
Oh, it's that guy from Philadelphia. The guy who won the
Peterson.
yeah, the guy who won the Super
Doug
Bowl.
Peterson.
Doug Peterson, I believe, is the
Okay.
coach of Jacksonville. I could be wrong, but I think I saw him on the sidelines there in
Okay,
the
it could be.
preseason game. So I don't know. Let's see where they go with all of this. But yeah, Tony Khan's playing with his dad's money, man. Very simple. And
He's
I
having a
think
good time.
no, he's not. He's feeling the heat now because he's bought way too much stuff. It's kind of like having a bunch of cars and not enough garage space.
He's
So a
got to
lot
bring in
of
some better people around him, some smarter people around him to kind of
well,
coach him and
this
run
is
some stuff.
what he started to do. He's created a creative kind of task force,
Yeah.
right? So he's got Tony Schiavone, he's got Sunjay Dutt, he's got Pat Buck, the guy with the red hair that we used to see in WWE all the time, but he's now
Mm-hmm.
the guy who runs that for AEW. So he's created a bit of a creative task force that works together for storylines and things like that. So he's starting to understand that you cannot write the show beside the pool anymore,
Good.
right? If he needs to, if he wants to compete with WWE, if he wants to do all those things that he keeps talking about, and all the glitz and glamour and all the glory that he claims that he's wanting to achieve, he needs to change the way he's doing business, because right now the way he does business is not helping at all.
Yeah.
In
Honeymoon
fact,
phase is over. Now it's now the novelty's worn off now.
the novelty's worn off, and guys like Miro are like, "What the fuck? I came here because I thought there'd be more opportunities. It's not happening.
Yeah.
I'm not on TV." Same with Andrade. These are guys that are kind of looking at stuff and going, "Fuck, I fit into sign so quickly."
Yep.
Right? I almost believe that Miro would have come back to WWE, if he had the opportunity to,
I think so.
possibly, right? But let's see. Like I said, they're oversaturated with so much talent right now.
He
There's
signed
just
way too many people. Way too many.
and too many people, and most of them are showing up on Dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is on their YouTube channel. It's not even on TV.
I know.
So guys are working, girls are working, but the reality is you can only put so much on television.
Absolutely.
Um, Speaking of that, Adam Cole, I've not seen him on AEW for a little bit either. Neither have I seen the Red Dragons, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. So, I don't know what's going on with those guys, if they're injured
I
or
never
not.
thought of that, but yeah, you're right.
So I haven't seen those guys there for a while. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening with AEW, but there is a lot of upset people. There are people who are now looking at WWE again and like, oh shit, did
They made
I
a
did
mistake.
I did I move too fast? Did I leave too fast? So guys like Gargano, guys like Dexter Loomis, like they wanted Gargano so bad.
I'm
There's no
surprised they
denying
never
it.
got him.
No, because he knew he'd wait it out. He wanted to play the game properly. Like he knew, okay, Johnny Gargano wasn't sure what he wanted to do. Did he want to stay wrestling or did he want to move into something else? He wasn't sure. And this is why I think WWE brought him back, because he wasn't hasty. He took his time,
Yeah, he
right?
played smart.
He played it smart. He waited for the opportunity to see when he was ready. And he made the right call. Same with Dexter Loomis. These are guys that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But even though they would have signed them or whatnot, guaranteed these guys would have just showed up on Dark or something, and
Yeah,
then
they got lost in the
eventually,
shuffle.
and then get lost in the shuffle, and then kind of show up, what have you. But I like the addition of these guys because I mean, you think about it, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano have amazing history.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody, if you have the network, go back, watch some of the old NXT shows, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The matches as allies were amazing. Against one another was just fucking next level. The twist, the swerve, some of the shit that went down, man, just insane. Like the turns on each other. You would think one guy's like, oh my God, like, he did this to him and injured him basically and wrote him off the show. Guy comes back and you're thinking, okay, they've made amends or whatnot. And the other guy does that to him.
Although I never seen them wrestle, I'll have to check it out.
You got to check it out. Please do. Chance, I
I've
really,
seen them
really,
wrestle, but it's not each other, not those matches.
no, I'm calling those matches as a wrestling fan. If you like wrestling, those are really fun matches to watch. I really implore everybody. But
Yeah,
hey,
check them out.
last week's numbers I have here. You want to see what the viewership was for all the major shows for this week?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So Raw had 1.98 million people, which is a 0.53 rating. NXT had 723,000 people watching. AEW Dynamite, which is fair, 957,000 people watching. I mean, they're not competing against anybody on
No.
a Wednesday. Neither are any of these shows, to be fair.
Monday Night
Okay.
Football's coming back soon, so we'll see how Raw's
Monday
rating
night.
holds.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out. I mean, I think this is the other reason why they're trying to get in all these names to build it up, to get it going, so people have to tune in, right? SmackDown. You ready for this one? This was insane. 2.62 million people watched SmackDown last Friday.
Friday night on Fox, yeah, prime time.
But Friday night, though, that's the weird one, in my opinion, because it comes on at 8 o'clock in the East, right? On a
Yeah,
Friday. We get it at 5 o'clock, unless you wait till the 8 o'clock showing.
we got it twice.
We're lucky that we get it twice now. But I mean, the East gets it twice too. If you're watching on Sportsnet 360, you get it at 5 and 8,
Well,
which would
Fox
be
promotes the hell out of it too. Every time you're watching football, they're always promoting WWE SmackDown or all the big baseball or whatever. They're always promoting SmackDown, so it does a big job for them.
no. But they're also doing it back for them, right? They're promoting NASCAR, they're promoting baseball,
Mm-hmm.
they're promoting the football as well. So
Yeah,
there's that partnership there, right? I mean, they're working with the network. But to have 2.6 million people watching it on a Friday night, which is pretty good.
I agree. I think SmackDown's the better show for the simple fact that it's 2 hours. Raw's 3. It's too long. Sometimes it drags out. There's too many segments sometimes. So I think 2 hours. It's a little more for the ADHD fan nowadays. It's on their phone and laptop. Quick 2 hour show and you're done. 3's a bit much.
Yeah, no, I agree to you. I agree with that a lot. But like I said, I think the last few Raws have been pretty fun. I haven't even noticed the 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think there was a point where I was at the hour and a half mark, and I was kind of like, okay, what's going on?
They'll never be able to put it back to 2 hours though, because of
I
the
don't think they
sponsors and
can. I
stuff,
don't
right?
think they can, right? And there's a
Yeah.
lot more that kind of goes into it. If you want to get more information or details on it, listen to Corey Graves' podcast, the one that he does. And he talks about it as well, like, some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes into making the show 3 hours, why the show is still 3 hours, what they base it on, the marketing behind it. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot that we can sit here and say, oh, this isn't good, or we don't need this or that, but there's a reason why they do it,
Yeah, no, I get why they do it.
right?
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So no, I don't blame them, but you're right. I do agree. I think a 2 hour show would be better. And again, I'm kind of waiting, I'm just gonna wait
And the
to
nice thing
see.
with 2 hours is some of the people that you see on Raw every week won't be on there all the time. You trim the fat, so to speak, a little bit, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. So, like I said, I want to see 6 months here, right? I'm going to take a 6 month sample size from when the new regime took over
Mm-hmm.
and see where it is in 6 months, right? Let's just give it 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been fun right now. We talk about Tony Khan and the honeymoon period with AEW and how it's over. In essence, this is kind of like another honeymoon period.
Yep.
You got fresh
They
fresh
haven't
views
pissed
in there.
anybody off
You
yet, but it's just a
you
matter of
haven't
time for
pissed
them to
anyone
come
off.
out.
No, well, let's find out. Let's see where they
Yeah.
go. I mean, they've shut down NXT UK. They've released basically the whole roster there. They're going to be rebranding it for next year as NXT Europe, which will probably allow some of these guys to kind of come back or whatnot. But they did release some really good talent from that side of the pond, which I kind of hope they kind of bring back and do something with them.
I don't know. Europe doesn't just create their own shows.
Well, there's a lot of promotions out in Europe. Don't get me
Like I know
wrong.
what
I
I
mean,
know, but like a big one, like AEW or WWE, they should just try to do their own thing. See what
well,
happens.
and I think that's what they're kind of doing with this NXT Europe. You know what I mean? Like NXT itself is a
No,
brand
but I
within
mean not on the
itself.
WWE umbrella, like their own, like somebody else do something else in Europe that's not WWE or AEW. Costs a lot of money. Yeah, I know that's a thing.
Comes down to money, man, right?
I know. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And over there, we're not talking dollars, we're talking euros.
Yeah.
And because the country's so split up, I mean, it's kind of hard to run something like that because the UK deals in pounds, the French deal in francs.
I know. Yeah, it's
But then
difficult.
Amsterdam does euros. So this country does euros. So I don't know what WWE Europe is going to be. I think it still be based out of the UK, but it'll have more of the European flavor. Because I mean, that's what they were doing before. A
Yeah,
lot
they
of their
needed more.
guys were from Europe, but it's NXT UK. So I don't know. Let's see where that kind of goes. I mean, if there's anything that Triple H has done so far, that probably be the biggest one in terms of displacing talent and letting talent go. But I think that was something they were probably planning beforehand, anyways.
Probably.
But hey, guess what? I'm gonna do a Chance Michaels this day in wrestling history. This
Let's
day
hear
in
it.
1999, I believe Triple H won his first WWF title,
Nice.
heavyweight title.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, brother man. I don't know. I'm kind of out of things here. What do you got? You got anything you want to throw down?
Yes. Well, since I've never, I'll be honest with the audience, I've never watched NXT for more than 10 minutes. So I don't know much about it, but I got a top 5 for you.
Sure.
Tell me your top 5 favorite NXT moments.
Top 5 NXT moments. Probably be the match between Bailey and Sasha at the Brooklyn takeover. That was awesome.
Okay.
That was really, really fun to watch. Um Top 5. So that was a really fun match as well. Uh Johnny Gargano against Tommaso Ciampa.
Okay.
Any of their matches, just phenomenal. Really fun to
I'll
watch.
check those out.
Yeah, please do. I really like it. Just as a wrestling fan,
Yeah,
take
no.
off your indie blinders, take it off, just watch it for the wrestling.
Yeah, I will.
Watch it just for that expression. I mean, just well done stories.
Okay.
Um, what else did I like about NXT? Oh, ooh, you put me on the spot here, man. My mind's kind of going all over the place right now. When Bray Wyatt first came out with the Wyatt family,
Okay. There's 3.
that debut was really, really cool as well. Watching when Finn Balor showed up to NXT, that was
Okay.
really cool. That came out of nowhere. And last but not least, he's no longer with the company, but seeing Samoa Joe when he first came out as well.
Cool. Good top
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, again, it's a developmental ground, right?
Yeah, no, I get
So
it. Yeah.
I
It
mean,
serves its purpose.
it serves its purpose, and I think Triple H isn't going in that direction where he was getting a lot of the indie guys. So if there is some positive, that's something that if you're not into the indie scene or whatnot or what have you, I think what you're going to see with NXT is basically in-house grown talent. They'll get amateur wrestlers, they'll get track athletes, they'll get basketball players, football players. They do their kind of tryouts and what have you,
Yeah.
but a lot of these guys will be homegrown products. So I think
Yeah.
that's what you're going to kind of see now, right? And then when the time is right, they'll move up, which is why I tell people to watch NXT. It's not hard to. I mean, it's on right now as we speak, and I'll probably watch it later on tonight because that's where the future superstars are going to
They're
be
coming
coming
from.
from,
Yeah.
right? So if you're not watching NXT and then you're just, going to get, not you, no, I'm not saying you, but someone's going to complain, oh, well, who's this guy or who's that guy? You have every opportunity in the world to know who these guys are. You just have to watch it, right? And casual fans, nothing against you. Here's all I say. Wrestling is not written for the casual fan. It's written for the wrestling fan. Guys like you and myself, right? Guys like Flying Rates,
Yeah.
girls like Little Miss, right? That's who wrestling is for. That's who it should be written for. If we're writing shows and we're concerned about how the casual fan's going to react, then wrestling's got a bigger problem. Boxing has a bigger problem. MMA's got a bigger problem, right? And I don't think you could ever base your product on a casual fan. Casual fans will come. You need to build that one guy. UFC got Conor Gregor. They built him
Yeah. But I think what people, the flip side of it, the casual fan makes the event special. When you see, like you said, Conor McGregor fight, Brock Lesnar fight, Floyd Mayweather, brings out everybody. Something special about
absolutely.
it. Hulk Hogan and Andre.
No. Hey, I'm not disagreeing, but the
But
companies
I know what
have
you
to.
mean.
The companies also have to be responsible, in my
Yeah.
opinion, for making that character.
Yeah.
And that person that they're putting the ball into the hands of needs to put in that extra work to become that guy, right? I mean, Conor McGregor, arrogant, cocky, a bit of a fucking dosser at times,
Yeah.
but you can't argue the work he put in to build his name.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. So I mean, guys are always going to complain, oh, Connor can just come in and fight whoever he wants whenever he wants. Yeah, he can because he's going to bring, like you said,
The money.
those eyes, that money. But he
Yep.
had to make himself there, right? And the promotion had to help build him.
Yep. He had to earn it. Yeah, he
Right.
did.
So same with Hogan, same with all these guys. I mean, everyone talks about, oh, blah, 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 blah. But reality is who's talking about all the hard work, the stuff behind the scenes. Like we talked about The Miz today. Why is he still in WWE after all these years, after all the cuts and everything? Even his wife got cut,
Yeah,
right? But he never did because he puts that work in.
true.
He puts the work in that no one else sees. If you don't live in Topeka, Kansas, or whatever, you're not listening to that morning show when they're in that town. You don't
Yeah,
know that, right? So again, you put in that hard work. It's just so many elements that have to come together to make that one character exist,
yep. No, I agree.
right? So that's kind of where I stand on it, man. But hey, tell you what, brother man, let's wrap this up
Yep, bring it
for a
home.
Tuesday afternoon and kind of get going here with our evenings. Coming up, we will come back with our boxing podcast. We haven't forgotten. Some fights have been announced, and we also have to review a fight that happened this past weekend. Two good fights happened this weekend, actually.
That was a good weekend.
It was a great weekend, man. And I think we have to touch on about the kick that was heard about the world.
We will. Yeah, for sure.
That was insane.
That was fun.
I was
Fun fight.
literally, I wrote him off. I'm not going to say anything because I want the listeners to listen. I'm sure they probably know what we're talking about, but hey, man, that was
Yep.
a good night.
We'll get
All
into
right,
that on
guys.
Thursday for sure.
Absolutely. All right, guys. My name is Bobby Sampson, and I am with my man with the master plan, Mr. Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great ACDC, those who download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. And considering that in a few weeks from now, the Stampede grounds will become alive again with professional wrestling after almost 20 years. No wrestling being held there. In the words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it for Samp and Chance. Everybody, have a great night. We will be talking to you in a couple of days. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification buttons and leave comments down below so we know what you guys think of the show and give us ideas and tell us what you want to hear us talk about. Have a
Yep.
great night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.